Gillie da Kid and Wallo smack Hassan Campbell for dissing his son the day after he got sent up, man. Welcome back. So everybody knows at this point that when Gillie da Kid's son got sent up, now Hassan Campbell questioning how they even got that $100 million. Because you got to understand, man, for Gillie da Kid's son to be in the hood, he was a 25-year-old. So he made his own choices. He went around and hung out with the crowd of people that he wanted to hang out with. Because everybody knows he could have just been chilling with his dad with the $100 million. They could have just been going lavish, shopping, whatever they wanted to do. But something kept him to the streets. Something kept him to Philly. Like he wanted to prove himself. He wanted to maybe have a dream of making it out as a rapper. Who knows, right? But the real reason that Hassan Campbell came out and felt the need to even say all that is because he said he was sick and tired of all the things going on in the community, people not realizing when they should, call it quits. Like, you got to realize, just like how people say you got to know when to fold the cards, you got to know when to hold them. When you got $100 million and your dad is set up and y'all living lavish, you should have just go ahead and take that route instead of doing whatever it is that Gillie da Kid's son was doing. Maybe whoever he was hanging out with called him to that area. Maybe somebody gave him a ride and he was just a passenger. He couldn't really choose where to go. There's so many multitude of things that happened for him to end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. And him being a rapper doesn't do anything more than make him be a target. And the fact that the hood they were in, Olney, Philadelphia, if you know how the hood works, you know that it's a lot of cars parked on the street. So when him and his buddies was out there, it was 3 dudes out there. Remember, he got hit up and another person got hit up and it was a third person too. So you can't see the cars really coming from the street like that if you're on the sidewalk. There's so many cars parked on the side of the street. They thinking it's just another person that lives in the area. And so when they slowed down, they couldn't really see through the windshield and through the windows because it's a lot of stuff blocking the view. So he didn't really have too much time to actually be able to retreat and run away from this and jump the fence and try to get away like you would expect somebody to do in the same situation if somebody just literally tried to do a drive-by in the hood on you. And this is another thing. They had to have known him and where he was. So somebody dropped the location. You don't just end up randomly getting hit up. Nothing is random no more. People are making decisions because they want to do it. It's not like the dudes said, we're going to just randomly slide through the hood and pop off a couple shots. No, they had a target. They knew what they was doing. Most likely they were trying to rob him, get some type of money or some jewelry. 9 times out of 10, nobody else had no jewelry on around him except for him. He's in a rap group with his brother, his cousin. So it couldn't have been them that was with him. He was not with his family. A lot of people think that he was hanging out with the same people that's in his rap group, but that's not true because that would have been his brother and his cousin there. So whoever he was hanging out with, they were not part of his family. So they don't understand what it is like to protect him, knowing that he got to make it back home so that they could count those 100 mils and actually be able to enjoy it. And the way that Gillie and Wallo got that $100 million is not really $100 million because you know that 60 million is going to taxes. So they get 40 million left over. Then they got to split that between 2 people. So that's really that 100 million turned into 20 million real quick. And then that 20 million, it's a 10-year deal. That 10-year deal means they get 2 mil every year for 10 years. So that $100 million in all actual reality is just 2 million when it's all said and done and is coming into his account and is getting in his pockets and everything like that. So when he went and they bought them Ferraris, they bought them Lambos, they went and got them penthouses and everything like that, all this traveling, living like the rapper that he wanted to be, right? That 2 million went quick. He never got security for his son. Any person in the right mind would know that if you got millions and millions of dollars like that, wouldn't you want your kids to be protected? Wouldn't you want to do something to make sure somebody has your back? Because it's a lot of people who they end up getting a lot of money and that's when they get ran up on. That's when they get something happen to them. A lot of people are greedy, jealous, envy. You know what I mean? Like, people hit the lottery and the next day they go broke because of all these different things that happen to them. And it's really the same situation with Gillie da Kid, his son, Wallo. And it's a real sad situation. I want to send my condolences to YNG Cheese, Gillie da Kid's son. His real name is Devin Spady. So people need to recognize that he got a real name, man. We have to start saying these people's names. We have to start giving flowers to people before they pass, because there's no reason why a 25-year-old should have got hit up like that. From what most people know, from what we hearing, he wasn't into it with no other people really. So when they looking at who's the motivation, what's the motive behind hitting him up, it keeps circling back to the 100 mil or the past beefs that Gillie and Wallo could have had growing up in Philadelphia back when they didn't have no money and they had to go and get it out the mud. And some people they might have screwed over, some people they might have shorted, but that's just the way that life goes when you don't got much. And you know, sometimes you're going to have the upper hand on some certain people in order to actually make it out of like the situation that you going through at that time. So imagine those people that might have got finessed by Gillie da Kid. Maybe back then they got whooped by him or something like that, or he took his girl, right? And now they see that he got 100 mil and his son is being a successful rapper. A lot of these dudes, they could have been like sitting back for a long time, peeping and seeing what was going on. But now everything's over the top, and they might have gotten real angry, real mad about that. They weren't the ones in those positions. Because a lot of people, I guarantee you, 99.9% of Philadelphia, they would trade places with Gillie da Kid right now. Not the fact that because he lost his son, but I'm talking about because he's got the money, he's got the lifestyle that everybody wants. Because you see how the rappers and everybody, that all these celebrities that y'all be looking up to, it ain't all said what it's out to be, man. You see that you wouldn't want something like this happening even if you got all the money in the world. And we don't wish this upon nobody. We would want people to actually raise their kids and be able to have a happy family. And this is the reason why you need to get security when you got bread like that. Because there's no point in Gillie da Kid's son moving like that with nobody to protect him. Who knows the people who he was with, what they were thinking. So you got to understand that basically he should have been moving differently. They should have been moving militant and tactical. Anytime that they hop out, especially, you could go to the hood. There's nothing wrong with going to the hood. Sometimes you got to pick up a family member. Sometimes you got to run some errands. Maybe the post office is over there, right? So if you do happen to go over there, but you got millions, you should be pulling up SUVs, 6 bodyguards hopping out. Everybody got a vest. I'm talking about they shut the block down. Nobody's getting around the intersection. Imagine when people like Jay-Z, when people like billionaire status, when they go to somewhere, they're not just hopping out the passenger seat looking around with nobody, just being an open sitting duck to the whole world, like with a big target on their back. So whoever it was that might have been following Gillie da Kid's son, they could have seen on the Instagram stories from his friends that he was in town. And then maybe somebody might have posted where they were going. Like they might have posted and tagged the location. You never tag and post the location if you're still there. Don't y'all remember what happened to P&B Rock? His girlfriend took the picture of the chicken and waffles they were eating at Roscoe's, and literally by the time they got their drinks, the hitters was already at the front door telling everybody to get down. So people need to learn from these lessons and understand that it's a certain way you have to move. You could still go to the places, but you just can't be sloppy like that. You gotta really be on point, because you're the one with everything to lose. And everybody else around you, they ain't got nothing to lose, so they could take those risks. So people gotta just open their eyes and look at the facts that this is what's really going on, man. And I want to send out my condolences to Gillie da Kid, his son, and everything like that. But stay updated and tune back in for the breaking news that's about to come out, because now it's really on between Gillie da Kid and Hassan Campbell. And Wallo sent a message to Hassan Campbell telling him that he shouldn't even be speaking on his kid like that. That's Gillie da Kid's son. So why is he speaking on some other grown man's son? He was telling him that he need to worry about his own family and not be putting his nose in other people's business like that. Because at the end of the day, man, Gillie da Kid and Wallo is the ones in the family, is the ones who's gonna have to deal with the repercussions of everything that just happened. Like, they still gotta find the dude who hit his son up. They still gotta do the whole entire investigation and everything like that. And not only that, but the funeral is coming this week. So they gotta pay for all of this. They have to mourn, tell all the family members everything that happened. They have to comfort the grandmothers, the aunties and uncles and everything like that. So this isn't a time for people like Hassan Campbell to be coming out and speaking so quickly on it, because they think that it's dissing basically. And you know, a lot of people, obviously this is a big topic of discussion, so everybody's gonna be speaking their part on this. But as we learn how it goes on, we have to pay attention to the fact that we got to pay the condolences to the families of the loved ones and the lost ones. It's only right that we do that, because at the end of the day, we have to bring the community together to make sure that the violence stops and things like this don't happen again. Because this, just think about, this happens every night in every hood in America. But those kids that's affected, the ones that we don't hear about, their parents aren't superstar celebrities, so we never get to see them on the news like that. So it's a lot of people who this happens to all the time that get hit up in the hood, just like Gillie da Kid's son, whether they got set up or whether it was the wrong place, wrong time. But there's a lot of stories that we don't get to hear because they're not rappers, they're not famous people that are on TV, they're not millionaires, right? And so the people that's really in the hood and live in the hood, and they're the ones that this stuff happens to more commonly, that's the people that we also need to send our condolences to. Because there's no point of just, you know, shedding light on one situation when we could just shed light on the whole entire spectrum of this, man.